Death. Even the word itself makes most people shiver. We whisper it, we avoid it, we cover it with rituals and polite language, passing away, resting, departing, as though softening the word will soften the truth. Yet for the Aghori, death is not a shadow to be feared, but a teacher to be embraced. Fear of death is the greatest illusion, and only when we pierce through that illusion can we find ultimate freedom. Why does death terrify us so deeply? It is because the mind clings. The mind says, I am this body, this name, this story, this collection of memories. If death takes that away, what am I? And so, we build defenses. We gather possessions, status, relationships, beliefs, anything that will convince us we are solid and permanent. But in reality, these are fragile garments, easily torn. The Aghori begins by stripping them away, not because life is worthless, but because clinging to illusions makes life half-lived. The Aghori path is often misunderstood as something dark, frightening, or morbid. People imagine cremation grounds, skulls, ash, and strange rituals, but these are not spectacles for shock. They are tools of liberation. When an Aghori smears ash from the cremation pyre on his body, he is reminding himself, this is the destiny of all flesh. This body that you polish, perfume, parade, it will one day be nothing but ash. Why waste your life fearing what is inevitable? The cremation ground is the ultimate classroom. To sit where bodies burn is to sit face to face with impermanence. It is to watch the illusion of separateness melt away in the fire. Today it is another body. Tomorrow it is mine. In the flames, the Aghori sees equality. King or beggar, young or old, beautiful or disfigured, everybody burns the same. Fear dies in the acceptance of this truth. But let us go deeper. The Aghori does not only meditate on the end of the body, he goes further, piercing into the very nature of consciousness. Death appears frightening only if you believe you are the body. The body dies, yes. But are you the body? Death appears frightening only if you believe you are the mind. The mind dissolves, yes. But are you the mind? The Aghori insists, you are not the body. You are not the mind. You are the witness, the eternal flame that cannot be extinguished. This is not mere philosophy for the Aghori. It is lived truth. To dissolve the fear of death, the Aghori practices radical acceptance. He does not avoid decay or deny ugliness. He does not run from corpses or disease or shadows of the night. He consumes what others reject, embraces what others fear, because in doing so, he dismantles the conditioning of the mind. Where the world says, this is pure, this is impure, the Aghori says, all is Shiva. Where the world says, this is life, that is death, the Aghori says, there is no division, only the eternal dance of form and formlessness. Now here is a secret rarely spoken. The Aghori understands that the fear of death is not only fear of the body's end, it is also the fear of ego's end. What we truly resist is not annihilation of flesh, but annihilation of identity. Who am I without my story, my achievements, my relationships, my roles? This is why people cling so desperately not only to life, but to their image, their legacy. The ego whispers, I must continue, I must be remembered. But the Aghori burns even this attachment in the fire. To die before death, to let the ego dissolve while still alive, that is the highest freedom. You may ask, if fear of death is illusion, why then do we still feel it so powerfully? The Aghori would answer, because illusion is not weak. Maya, the cosmic veil, is strong. It convinces us that we are small, temporary, helpless. It hides the truth that we are infinite consciousness, merely wearing human form for a brief span. The practices of the Aghori are designed to tear this veil apart, brutally if necessary. To meditate among corpses, to eat from a skull, to embrace the most abhorred aspects of existence, these are not acts of madness. They are confrontations with Maya itself. By shocking the mind out of its ordinary comfort zones, the Aghori forces it to confront the truth. Nothing is impure, nothing is permanent, nothing is separate from the absolute. And here lies another hidden gem of Aghori wisdom. Death is not the enemy, it is the passage. The Aghori does not worship death. He befriends it. He looks into its face until its mask falls away, and he sees that death is only transformation, the drop returning to the ocean, the wave falling back into water. Fear exists only when we believe we are the drop. Freedom comes when we realize we are the ocean itself. The Aghori also teaches that the fear of death keeps us enslaved while alive. Because we fear losing, we grasp. Because we fear endings, we cling to beginnings. Because we fear the void, we fill ourselves with endless noise and distraction. We run from silence, we run from stillness, we run from anything that reminds us of the finality we dread. But in running from death, we also run from life. The one who fears death has never truly lived. On the Aghori path, freedom comes when you stop running. Sit with the silence. Sit with the stillness. Sit with the certainty that one day everything you call me will dissolve. In that confrontation, something remarkable happens. You begin to see death not as a thief, but as a mirror. The mirror says, live now, do not wait. This moment will never return. Death, when befriended, becomes the greatest motivator for authentic living. Now let us touch on something deeper still. For the Aghori, there is no duality. Not between life and death, not between good and evil, not between purity and impurity. Everything is Shiva. When you see all as Shiva, death loses its teeth. How can the death of a form disturb you if the formless remains untouched? How can the burning of a body shake you if the consciousness that witnessed the body was never burned? The Aghori's secret is this. Once you see death as Shiva, fear dissolves into reverence. But beware, this is not an intellectual game. You cannot simply tell yourself, I am not afraid of death, while clinging to possessions, identity, control. To walk the Aghori path is to strip yourself naked of all that is false. It is to look unflinchingly at decay, impermanence, and loss, until the part of you that trembles collapses, and only the eternal remains. What does this mean for you, listening right now, living in the world, working, raising families, facing everyday struggles? It means that freedom is possible, even without going to cremation grounds. You may not smear ash on your body, but you can meditate on impermanence every day. You can sit quietly and remind yourself, this breath may be my last. This moment is a gift, never to return. You can learn to let go, to love without clinging, to live without grasping. To die before you die is to release the ego's desperate grip while you are still alive, so that when the body does fall, there's no fear, only surrender. The Aghori path, misunderstood by many, is ultimately a path of compassion. By dissolving fear of death, the Aghori dissolves fear of life. Without fear, there is acceptance of all beings, all forms, all experiences. Nothing is rejected, nothing is condemned. The saint and the sinner, the sacred and the profane, the birth and the death, all are embraced as facets of the same divine reality. This is the ultimate freedom, to see through illusion, to embrace all without judgment, and to live in the truth of oneness. So, fear of death. It is an illusion, but one that shackles most of humanity. The Aghori tears away this illusion not to shock the world, but to free himself, and through his example to free us as well. For when you see death clearly, life becomes luminous. When you release fear, love flows without conditions. When you realize you are eternal consciousness, you walk unbound. This is the wisdom hidden in the ashes, whispered by the flames, carried in the silence of the cremation grounds. Death is not the end. Death is the great revealer. And freedom is not found in avoiding it, but in embracing it fully. If these words stirred something within you, know that you are not alone on this path. The Aghori Code is a space for those who seek fearlessness, truth, and ultimate freedom. Subscribe, and let us continue walking together into the mystery, into the fire, into the infinite. For on this path, none of us are truly alone.